I read this book. The title is Where the Crawdads Sing, and it's about Kaya. And when she was 7, her mom she left because her dad was, I mean, for her mom it would be her husband, but then for Kaya it would be her dad was mistreating the whole family. And and then Kaya's brothers and sisters, and then eventually her dad left too, and then she was only 10 years old. And then she learned to cook all by herself, which I think is pretty awesome because, well, I'm more than 10 years old and I still can't cook anything, even if it's like a sandwich or something. Um, and and then she sells mussels to jump in, and then she earns money. But then she, when she's selling those mussels, she has to get up early at dawn, and that must have been like very hard doing that. And also, well, later she meets a boy called Tate, and well, they really like each other. And then Tate has to go to college. Oh, and before he goes, he teaches Kaya to read, and he's very successful at it. And well, and then after he goes, he promises to return at July 4th, but then he doesn't. And so Kaya becomes very lonely and very sad. And then later Tate does come, but then she sees her, but then he doesn't go and meet her. And I really don't understand that, because if I were him, I would have gone right up to her and said like, "Hey, I'm very sorry for not coming to July 4th. There was something, something, something." And then, well, restore the relationship back to normal. But then he just left. I don't really understand why he did that. But then after that, she meets somebody called Chase. Um, he's a boy from town, but then he also hangs out with lots of other girls. But then Kaya, even if she knows that, she really likes him because she doesn't feel lonely anymore. But then Chase begins to like mistreat Kaya, um, and and so he and so Tate comes, and well, he sees Chase and Kaya hanging out together, and then he also hears Chase talking about Kaya like, well, like she's like, well, when he's with her, he acts so sweet, but then when she isn't there, he acts like he only he doesn't really like her. He only just he's just using her to make more friends. So Chase also said that he'd marry Kaya and then get a like 2-story house look at the beach. But when Kaya found out that he married somebody else, she begins not talking to Chase anymore. And then, well, Chase becomes very violent. But before that, Tate had warned Kaya that Chase wasn't a very good guy. And I think if I were Kaya, well, Tate did come back and he did say sorry. So I think if I were her, I would have forgiven him and just hung out together and broke up with Chase. Um, but well, Kaya didn't do that. She uh, she told Tate to go away and that Chase was better than him. But then later, when that happened, well, she knew that Tate was right, and well, she took his advice and published a book, and it was a big success. So, well, her publisher later told her to come to Greenville to meet him, um, and she did. But while she was there for 2 days, two boys found Chase Andrews like uh, under the fire tower dead. So, well, the townspeople immediately thought that Kaya had done that. Um, they had stereotypes like against her, um, because she was living in the marsh and they were living in the town, and well, she was different from them. But she was actually a very nice person. So they immediately suspected her of that, even though, well, the bus drivers testified that she had been in Greenville. So she goes to court, and well, the sheriff also found red fibers on Chase's jacket, and then a hat in Kaya's house, perfectly matching those red fibers. And they also found no fingerprints or footprints on the fire tower or under the fire tower, implying that somebody had wiped it down. Um, and also that Chase had fallen backwards, so somebody must have pushed him. But Kaya had I don't remember what it was called, but somebody defending her, and his name was Tom Milton, and he testified that well, those red fibers could have got on the jacket, like from the 4 years of them hanging out together. And well, I wasn't really thinking that that could be proof, but then because the jacket can be washed, but then I thought about it again, and well, when a jacket does become washed, there are some fibers still remaining on it. And also the footprints, the absence of footprints, that could be explained by the tide coming in and out. And well, that's a pretty solid proof too. And also they called the bus drivers for the night bus back to where she lived. And well, the bus driver said that Kaya wasn't there, although there was somebody who looked like Kaya who wasn't Kaya. So although they couldn't prove that it was Kaya because well, even if it were her, she was in disguise. So well, so eventually Kaya went out of court, not guilty of the crime, and it really did look like that. It really did look like she wasn't guilty of the crime. And then Tate and Kaya, they marry together and they live in Kaya's house in the swamp. I mean, in the marsh, and uh, and they have a awesome life together. And then Kaya dies, and then Tate finds out, uh, clearing away some stuff, that well, she had been the one who murdered Chase Andrews. And I think that's a very surprising turn to the story because well, it really looked like Kaya had done that, but well, in the end, it finds out that she did do that. So that's very surprising. So overall, it was a good book. And also, before I read this book, I was thinking that like the marsh was a very scary place, a creepy place where there are like some super duper scary predators who roam around ready to eat you. But no, this book got me thinking that the marsh was also a place of beauty, and it's also a very important factor to the ecosystem. So it was a very awesome book. And well, I hope you get the chance to read it too, and have a great day. Bye.